This is Chapter 3 of Excel, Project 3A in the Go Book for Excel 2010, and I'm on page 375. And we want to open the fund E03A Fund Expenses, File, and here it is. Open it up, and we're going to save it again. And we're going to chop off the E0 from the front and turn it. Put our last name, underscore first name, and save it. And we want to go to D5. I'm going to put in a formula. And it's going to be C5. So we can either click on it, use the left arrow to move there, or just type it in, and then click divided by, and C11. And there's a keyboard shortcut for making that into an absolute cell reference. We're going to copy that down to the next few rows. And I want C11 to be the denominator every time, but I want the numerator to change from C5 to C6 to C7 and so on. So F4, function key 4, is the keyboard shortcut that will put the dollar signs in for you. So that's a kind of a useful keyboard shortcut to know. And we are now on page 376, and I don't hit the check mark. I just hit the enter key and then go back up again. And what we're going to do is copy the formula using the fill handle, little black plus sign. And we're going to go down to row 11. I'm sorry, row 10. And then what we're going to do is we're going to format those as percents. And we're going to center them, although usually you're right align numbers, but we're going to center them. And save the workbook. And I'm going to skip that part. And select the range A5 to A10, which is these right here, and hold the control key down and select the range C5 to C10. Okay. And what we're doing is we're selecting the data for a chart. I want this to be the data, and I want this to be the labels, and I don't want the stuff in the middle here, so I have to do a non-adjacent selection by holding the control key down. And with the non-adjacent ranges selected, click the Insert tab, and we're going to insert a chart. And so we go to the Charts group. I'm going to do a pie chart. And we want to go to 3D and pie in 3D. Okay. And that's what we get. We get a legend over here. And actually, a 3D pie chart is kind of a poor chart to use, because when you flatten out the chart like that, it distorts the sizes of the pieces of the pie. Things that are here, like at 9 o'clock or 3 o'clock, end up looking smaller than they really are, and things that are at 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock end up looking bigger than they really are. So I recommend that you don't use 3D pie charts, but that's what he's doing in the book, so we'll go along with it. And I want to move it to a new sheet. So here's the Move Chart button, and I want to go to a new sheet. And we don't want to call it Chart 1. We want to call it Projected Expenses Chart. And click on OK. And we are now on the top of page 378. And we want to go to our chart tools up here. We've got 3 different ribbons. And we're going to go to the Layout tab. And in the Labels group, we're going to add a title. And we're going to do above the chart. And now when you put in a title like this, you don't actually have to select anything. You can just start typing right away. And we're going to type General Fund Projected Expenses and hit enter, and it automatically replaces this, even though it didn't look like I selected the text there. I want to point to the chart title text, and I want to change the font size to, let's right click, and we want to change the font size to 36. So we're going to double the size here. Okay. And another thing about these labels in your chart here. Right now there is a solid line around my title here. If I click inside, it turns to a dotted line. When you've got the dotted line, you can select individual parts for formatting. When you've got the solid line around it like this, any formatting that you do applies to everything inside the chart. For example, if I wanted to go to my Home tab here and make it red, it turns red because I've got a solid line around the whole thing. I'm going to undo that. But if I've clicked inside of it and I go click on red, and it just does part of it. So I just get the word. And actually that was because I hadn't selected anything. If I'd selected these two letters like that, it would have just turned those two letters red. Okay, so that's how you can edit a label in a chart here, or actually any place else in Excel or Word or any other Office applications too. The solid line means the whole thing. The dotted line means that you can edit part of it. And I want to change the font color here, so I'm going to right click again and go to font color, and we want olive green, darker 25%. Let's check out this one right here, and that's darker 25%. And I picked the wrong thing. That was the bucket, and we were supposed to do the font color. So let's try this one and go to olive green, darker 25%. And there we go. I want to go to my layout tab here, and for legend I want to choose none. I don't think it's a good idea to put a legend off to the side around a pie chart when you actually label the individual pieces of the pie, and that's what we're going to be doing next. So in the data labels group, on the data labels button here, we want more options. And when our Format Data Labels dialog box comes up under Label Contains, we want the category name and percentage. Okay, category name and percentage, which means we turn off the other ones. And under the position, we're going to do center and click on close. And this should match the picture on page 379. Point to any of the selected labels. Okay, now you notice they're all selected right now, so any formatting I do is going to apply to all of them. And we're going to right click on use the mini toolbar, change the font size from 10 to 11. It's a little bit bigger. And we're going to make it bold, and we're going to make it italic. Okay, and now I guess it matches 379. And we're supposed to save it, and then we go to activity 3.03, and it says click any pie slice outside of the label to select the entire pie. And you see the handles appear all the way around the outside of each pie segment, and there's also a little handle that appears in the middle here. And we want to go to our Format tab for our chart tools, and in the Shape Styles group, which would be over here, click the Shape Effects button, point to Bevel. So here's Shape Effects, and go to Bevel, and click the top button, and these are labeled, and I'm not sure exactly which one is top here. Cross, cool, slope, and they're not even alphabetical, so that doesn't help us find it. Okay, let's try that again. Okay, now it's going too fast here. I should have gone to Bevel and then click 3D options. That's why I'm not finding it. Okay, and now in the Format Data Series dialog box, on the right under Bevel, click top and point to the first button labeled circle. Click the bottom button and do circle, and step number 4 at the bottom of page 379. Now in the for width and height spin boxes, type 512 points and then compare your screen. Okay, so in the width and height. All four of them we want 512 points. Okay. That's going to be a big bevel, I think. And now we're on page 380. And in the lower portion under Surface, click the Material button. And we're going to do, under Standard, we want the third one, which is Plastic. And then we're going to close this. Okay, and now it kind of looks like a Frisbee. With the pie still selected on the Format tab in the Shapes Styles group, click Shape Effects. And we want Shadow. And we want Perspective. And we want the third button, which is Below. And now this should pretty much match what we have on page 381, except they've been rotated a little bit on page 381. But as far as the formatting goes, it should be pretty much the same as what's on page 381. And this video is about 11 minutes long now, so we're going to stop here, and we will finish activity 3A in the next video.